Hello and welcome back to Broadside Gaming with me, Zug. And today we're going to be going over how I build my Ogryn. So this is going to be like a more basic rundown of what I've been doing with the Ogryn. And if you want like more detailed weapon overviews, then keep an eye on the channel because I'll be doing weapon breakdowns for more or less everything that I find useful within the game, and even some things that aren't particularly useful. So, how do I build the Ogryn? Well, let's have a look. So obviously with your Ogryn, you've got your big box of hurt, throw a grenade with great strength and enthusiasm for a single target high damage attack. Really good for throwing at other Ogryns. And you can spec into this so it throws more grenades, but I tend not to, but you can, it's very usable. Your aura, plus 10% melee attack damage, a heavy melee attack damage, sorry, for allies in coherency. Your ability, Ball Rush. Charge forward, knocking enemies back, gaining 25% attack speed and 25% movement speed for 5 seconds. Just a nice little traversing skill. Thick Skinned, 20% toughness damage reduction and 20% health damage reduction. Yeah, makes you tankier. But let me just, from the get-go here, people need to get rid of the idea that in this game there are tanks and there are DPS. There's not. The Ogryn is a tougher class, but there are no tank classes in this game. You're just harder to kill, and you stagger things more. But you're not a tank, so please, for the love of Christ, stop getting the mace and shield out and just standing there. Stop it. It's not helpful to anyone. Anyway. Excessive Force, plus 25% melee stagger, like I just said. You are a stagger machine. And Loyal Protector. Being damaged while reviving or assisting allies no longer interrupts you. So you're really good for sprinting about, picking people up if needs be. Works into that whole Ogryn bodyguard kind of mythos. Right, so the skills I'm using. Linchpin. 100% toughness regeneration replenishment for allies in coherency. I'm using heavyweight, 50% damage against bulwarks, crushers, plague Ogryns and reapers. 50% damage reduction against bulwarks, crushers, plague Ogryns and reapers. This is really good because they are the most annoying thing to kill. So it's just a nice little boost against them. And it doesn't say just for melee damage, so I assume it's all damage. Obviously in this tree you can go for the grenade box. So when you throw it at something or an unyielding enemy, it drops those grenades. It's fun. I find heavyweight more useful, or if you're trying to go for a bleed build, you can use Blood and Thunder. But again, out of all of these, I would go for heavyweight. And on the third row, we're going with Bullfighter. 10% Bull Rush cooldown when you and ally in coherency kill an elite enemy. This is really good, especially in joining up with a Psyker who has their replenishment skill, and when you're with a Sharpshooter who's just popping off elites all around you, so your Bull Rush will be up quite a lot. Again, Towering Presence is alright. Lead the Charge is terrible, but I would usually go for Bullfighter. The fourth row, we're going with Die Hard. 100% toughness replenishment while below 25% health. It just adds another layer of protection for you. I found this quite useful. Though you can go for Bloodthirst. Damage resistance per bleeding enemy melee range, so you'd use Bloodthirst and Blood and Thunder, but again. And Hard as Nails, 20% damage taken for each ally currently knocked down. It's not that useful. If you get to that point, things have gone south anyway. Die Hard just gives you an extra layer of protection. And for the fifth row, we're going with Raging Bull. Increases the damage against the next enemy you hit by 2.5% for each enemy you hit with your previous melee attack. So you're in a horde situation, you're just cleaving, this is just going to ramp your damage up. I mean, there are payback time when an enemy damages you with a melee attack, you gain 20% damage, and knock them down, beat them up. But also this would be if you're going with a Power Maul or a Billy Club build. But I usually go with the knife. So Raging Bull I usually stick with. And the last tree, again, you got your Bull Gore for bleeding. Don't use it very often. Unstoppable. Now, if you're trying to do the Ogryn penances, you want to take Unstoppable. And you want to take Unstoppable in conjunction with Bullfighter. So you can get all your rushing in, so you can knock the enemies down, so you can charge the Ogryns. This is how you do it. This is how you do those penances. But if you're not doing the penances, non-stop violence, replenish 10% toughness per bull rush hit. So it works a lot like the Zealot when he or she replenishes toughness as she charges. But this is on per hit. So this for survivability, unstoppable for penances. But of course, this is just my opinion, folks. If you found something better that works, feel free to share it with me. I'll try it out. I may even make a video on it if it works really, really well. So what am I using for weapons? So I'm using the Bull Butcher Mark III Cleaver, which is arguably the best melee weapon the Ogryn gets. Lots of damage, lots of cleave, and joining that up with Confident Strike, which is plus 7% toughness on chained hit, which basically means you keep swinging, you keep farming that toughness. I've gone with 25% damage to unarmored enemies, as that's mostly what you're going to be killing with it. Poxwalkers, Shamblers, that sort of thing. It rolled pretty well. As you can see, my dump stat is mobility because I don't give a shit about mobility. And I left on melee crit hit damage just because it was the highest rated perk on there, and yeah, it's fine. And for my range weapon, I'm using the Rumbler. Now, I absolutely adore the Rumbler because not only is it a grenade launcher, it's also a goddamn sniper rifle. I'll explain this more in a second. As you can see, I've tried to go with the most just damage out of it. So I've dumped mobility and ammo for penetration, blast radius, and blast damage. And I've got unyielding enemies on there. And there's a very good point for that, and I shall also explain that in a moment. And for the blessings, you've got shattering impact, so brittleness for armored enemies. Again, this works with the unyielding. And Glory Hunter for toughness farming on elite kill. So, what do I mean by it's a sniper rifle? So you're in a fight. Oh no, there's a sniper. You get physical damage on grenade hit. So you can aim. The hit kills the sniper, the grenade kills everything around it. And the physical damage it does on, like the kinetic damage before the blast, is very, very high. And it also staggers the living hell out of everything. So, what did I mean by why I wanted unyielding on here? So, you've got your unyielding enemies. And with the brittleness breaks the armor, the unyielding does more damage. So you literally just shoot this thing straight into them. And you use it like a shotgun. Obviously, it's not going to work very well against the Bulwark because shield. But if you can find an opening, it still does quite a lot of damage. And it will end up staggering them at some point. But yeah, I absolutely love the Rumbler. The Rumbler is one of my favourite Ogryn weapons. There are other weapons you can use. I'm not going to go into detail about them too much here, but out of all of them, I find see the Faux Rend Mark 5 or 6 or the Grenade Gauntlet. This is what I mostly run in Heresy or Damnation. And if you're doing lower level stuff or you just want to mess about, then obviously the heavy stubbers are very amusing. Not a massive fan of the kickback. It is good, but I just think the Rumbler does it better. And for melee weapons, of course, you've got your Power Maul and your Slab Shield. I touched on this earlier, and I'm actually going to equip this and show you what I'm talking about. Don't be that Ogryn. Don't just special attack and sit. This is not helpful for anyone. You're not doing anything to help your team. You cannot tank in this game. The only time you should be doing this is when there's a demon host. And literally you have to sit there and take the hits. Other than that, you want to be using it like you would if you were playing Vermintide on Kruber or Bardin. You shield bash, you get in there, you just knock everything about. You do not just want to be sitting there going, there's no aggro mechanic in this. You know, there is no way for you to actually go, right, there's all these gunners, right? Heavy gunners, I'm going to sit here and do that. You're not aggroing them to you. You're literally just, you're taking yourself out the fight and you're not getting in there and doing what you need to do, which is disrupt everything. Keep everything staggered. But yeah, my little rant about the slab shield. I've just seen far too many people not quite understanding how it works. So don't be one of those people, folks. You know, it's not useful for anyone. Out of all the melee weapons, I would say the Bull Butcher, the Billy Club, or the Brute Brainer, the Latrine Shovel are the top 3 that I would go for. And you always want to try and get confident strikes on them because you'll just be farming up that toughness. But yeah, so that's generally how I build the Ogryn. I haven't been playing the Ogryn as much as I have the Sharpshooter or the Zealot, so it's not as refined. But I find this is what has been working in Heresy and Damnation for me. Let's quit my knife again. Love my knife. With my little rabbit tail. But yeah, I've actually fallen in love with the Ogryn. I didn't like it to start off with. I didn't understand it. Then I sat down and I thought, fuck it, I'm going to work out how this thing works. And you are an absolute wrecking machine. And a lot of his weapons are just hilarious. So I hope this guide helps, folks. I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you have, please like, subscribe, hit that little bell for notifications. It really does help us out. And until next time, take it easy. I'll see you later.